We were at an Asian Women's Studies conference that UBC put on, and I had written a paper to present. And the reason I thought about North American and not Canadian or American, and why I took a hemispheric and continental approach to it, was that you read any of the historical research on migration and immigration and our settlement in North America, that Canada and the United States shared very similar legislative frameworks for treating the migrants. And also that the way in which ethnic studies had approached the ethnic minority groups was initially to claim their presence in the nation. But if we're trying to decolonize and if we're trying to stand in solidarity with Indigenous groups and Indigenous claims to sovereignty, that whole premise has to be thrown out the window. So what I'm trying to signal in North American Asian Feminisms is that all of the categories, the category of North American, and in that Canada and U.S. and to a certain extent Mexico too, are all held up for question. What counts as Asianness is held up for question. What counts as feminism is held up for question. So all of those are under interrogation. At the time, even to assert North American Asianness as a category, or to say that there's a category called Asian Canadian, was a contested framing. For example, the women of color would say, "Oh, you're being divisive. We've just finished trying to organize solidarity around the notion of women of color, and along you come and you want to claim politicized identity for another group." But that was one response that did come up. Another one that came up was that, are you asserting Asian feminism when we as South Asian feminists, we have our own identity and categories, so we don't need you to be imperialistic and bring us under your rubric? Well, that's a self-interpretation, because that's not what this is about. It's a way of asking questions about an Orientalism that is in feminism about Asians in general. Well, in this context, North American Asian Feminism, what is its history of thought? What is its history, its own history of feminist thought? What are those people who we want to look at and claim as our thought leaders? What have they been writing about and saying and arguing, and what's at stake here? Where are the positions in the debate? I mean, we need to do some of that ground clearing, and so that's part of the project. And the other project is, there have always been in Western feminisms Asian feminists, North American, or feminists located in North America who come from kind of Asian backgrounds, and yet that activism isn't acknowledged or valued in the written history of where feminism came from, Western feminisms came from. Why is that so, and what is that history? So asking the what question and how question and why question is important too. For me as an academic, this is a new site of creation in terms of knowledge production that is both experiential and it is abstract theoretical.